Hello everybody, the X-Whatever here today, and today we're doing What If Bill was a bioweapon part 3. But before I do the video, I just want to tell you guys something. The reason why I haven't been posting this is because I've been lacking motivation, so I'm terribly sorry. And also, this is probably the only time I get to tell you guys this, but E3 is like a robot, but here's some animations like saying, yeah, basically. Oh, so he'll be attacked like this. This is what it looks like when he gets hacked into the robots, transferring consciousness. Oh, so I can't, because you guys should know of these things, right? You know what they are, obviously. You know them. So I'm thinking of giving Bell this for that what if. Because I want to make a what if Bell had the dark saber and the lightsaber. But I also want to make what if Bell was a prime. If you guys decide in the comments right now, should I do what if Bell had the the lightsaber and the dark saber? Tell me in the comment section. But if you like the prime idea, then I'm down for doing it. But anyway, I'll get to the video, even though I don't know how the fuck to start the story. After Bell talked to Eyes, he was curious. Because he doesn't know what the hell leveling is, but it will be very interesting for him to join the so-called Loki Familia. He has heard rumors about them being the second most strongest familia out there. So, Bell decides to grab a few guns and a few of his favorite toys. After he gets done, he begins getting readied up and suited up. The clothes that he's wearing right now is actually armor. And I know it doesn't look much, but the armor looks about the same kind of value. Basically the armor's going to be like bulletproof, because not the clothing is, because the clothing is pretty advanced. I'm like, I don't know why, guys. I'm just like so tired right now. I really don't know why. I'll have some coffee like later so I can get some like, you know, some energy in my system. But anyway, as he gets out of his secret umbrella corporation thing, that took longer than expected, Bell's saying. To think that I'm being actually joining from like Familia or whatever. As Bell begins getting out of the abandoned house and going over to where the Loki Familia are at, or where Ice told Bell to meet. And I realized in the first video, I kept calling him Subject B. So, I want to call him Frost because his name, well, if they called him Frost because of the white hair, and his cold personality towards anyone that's around him, would make sense. And Frost is mostly the deadliest weapon they have in the Umbrella Corporation. Anyway, I'll get to it. I don't know why I'm doing this. I really don't know. As Bell was beginning to, as Bell gets onto his bike and begins, like, prepping it to ride it, as he begins starting it, turning his keys, like, it's like, and Bell's like, God damn it. As Bell begins opening up the fuse nozzle and begins blowing on it. As it begins to spark, and Bell's like, hell yeah. That should do it. As Bell gets onto his bike and begins driving towards the place where Loki Familia, where Eyes is at. And his eyes is just waiting there, wondering what's taking him so long. On his ocean gear was a rev noise, like vroom. And everyone in town was like wondering what was that noise. And of course, Belle was wearing a helmet at that time. Belle stops right in front of Eyes as he begins like doing a little like cool like stunt, I guess. I can't remember like. And Belle just says, "So I'm here. What now?" As Belle says to Eyes, and Eyes is like, "Who are you?" Gives him that confused look. Asbel is like, "Oh, sorry." Asbel takes off the helmet and shows shows his face to Eyes, just saying, "Oh, it's you, Belle, was it?" Asbel says, "Just call me Frost, Eyes." Eyes just like, "Okay, weird name, weird name or whatever." Just and I'm just like really fucking unmotivated to do this because I don't know. I don't know why. I just don't really have motivation for it. So if it is short, it's because I'm just running low on motivation, or just I just don't have any like caffeine in my system. I can probably make this video about 13 or 15 minutes long, so I'm sorry if it's so short. But yeah, I'll get to it. As as I says, okay, I need you to follow me to my familiar's home or manor. Asbel's like, okay. Asbel says, wait, where is it exactly? And she says, oh, it's like over there. You gotta take a left and a right, and keep going straight, and then you should find it. Asbel's like, are we walking there? As I says, yeah, with a confused look. Asbel says, get on. As Ice is like, get on what? Belle says, get on my bike. As Ice says, okay. She's like still like really not well. She's still like confused about how this thing managed to get there without any, horses or something. But whatever. As Belle begins revving up the engine, and Belle gives her the helmet, and Belle says, "You may want to wear this." As Belle begins like revving up the engine, like as he begins like lifting up his bike in the like that stunt, like where you like hold up your bike and you like riding on one wheel. That's what Belle's doing, and Ice is just holding on to Belle. Like she's like so scared because she's never experienced that. Because if I think about it correctly, if you did experience that, if you never been on a motorcycle, you would be in for I don't know, pretty much of a uncomfortable way. So Belle begins like riding to the manor. Loki's like, so apparently Eyes has a new recruit for me. Well, I only select the strongest and the ones that have the most potential. As Loki gets out of the manor, she just hears like, cause she got out of the manor because she was hearing like these weird like revving noise. As Loki sees like someone like driving towards them, and Loki's like, what the hell? How's that thing? How's that even moving? As Belle stops in front of the gate, and as Belle says, "Is this the place?" As Ice says, "Yes," because she's fucking cold to be honest, like freezing because it's not cold there. Because if you guys remember, when you're riding on a motorcycle, like the amount of like force that you're being pushed with is like a lot of like wind, not wind, just like so she's like basically like fucking like really cold. And Bill's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Eyes. I guess I should have given you a sweater." As Eyes says, uh, "I'm fine. I'll deal with it." As Loki's like, "Eh?" As Bell begins parking his bike in like inside the Loki Familia house, like no, he parks it right beside the gate and takes the ignition keys out. As Eyes and Loki like talk. Eyes says that he's incredibly strong, and he he was able to beat Finn, which Loki knew, but she was still shocked about Finn being beaten by this kid. This kid looked about I's age, but little did I know that Belle's fucking older than even fucking her. He looks like he's 15, but in reality, he's fucking he's like fucking like 28. Oh my god, I love this story. Okay, okay, for some reason, when I'm doing these, the story like begins by getting more funner and funner and just gives me motivation. Okay, I get to it. As Belle begins walking into the manor, of course, but all the Loki familiar are already went to the dungeon to actually grind some levels. And this will be a shock to everyone, but I can't remember what Belle level was. Did I ever say this level was? No, I didn't. Okay, Belle's level is level 0, like 1. Oh yeah, I should probably mention, if he levels up to level 2, his mutations become stronger, but downside is they become harder to control. But Bell can actually handle that because he's actually going to be training at level, when he's level 1, and when he's level 2, he's going to be training more harder. Because, if I think about it correctly, Bell's, yeah, endurance cannot be matched with anyone. As Bell begins to, as Bell begins walking around the manor, Bell begins looking around and just, being, fascinated about what amazing, good art and craftsmanship is around here. It was a bit uncomforting, but just looked like it was, not the Dark Ages, but the Dark Ages where there was no technology. Bell still had to get used to that. Why? Because, he always had technology around him and just monitor his vitals and just check his scans if he was alright, because the fucking base that he made was only temporarily because it only had a limited amount of power. Because Bell had to actually put solar panels around almost in all over the city. But some of the solar panels gather a little bit of energy, so it made do for Bell. So yeah. As Loki says, you look pretty muscular for a 15-year-old. As Bell looks down the little, redhead, and Bell's I'm guessing you must be Loki. As Loki says, yep. So, what kind of skills what kind of skills do you have? As Bell's I have many skills. As I says, no, I says, what do you mean you have many skills? As Belle looks at her, just says to her face, just says, I have more skills in combat experience than you guys, and probably even Loki's ever seen. And Loki says, I doubt it. As Belle says, well, for one thing, my monster destroyed almost the whole Loki Familia. As Ice is not Ice, Loki's oh, so you were actually controlling it. As Belle's yes, but during those few attacks, the creature went a bit more, a little out of my control. So I decided to sort of turn it back into my finger. As Loki's getting interested and saying, so what kind what kind of skill do you have? As Belle's well, for one thing, I can regenerate. Loki's okay. And Iris is you can regenerate. As Belle keeps continuing, I can actually mutate my body. My endurance is insanely high. I'm able to take a fucking, a knife in my stomach and still be able to fight. Even without my arm. Even if I lost any limbs, they would just regenerate at a highly speed. But if my limbs are completely cut off, my limbs grow stronger than they were before. And Loki's like, I like you. Okay, it's settled. I'll let you join my Familia. As I thinks to her head, it's like, that easy? Really? Loki asks Eyes to leave the room. Eyes does so. As Bell begins stripping, getting taking his shirt off, Loki is having a nosebleed because the amount of fucking hotness his abs are fucking showing is giving the goddess of mischief a nosebleed. A legit fucking nosebleed. As she's trying to hold it in. As she begins putting Belle in her Familia, well, but when Loki puts him in her Familia, she is shocked when she sees the amount of fucking skills he has. I can't name them all, but if someone wants to name what skills he has in the comment section, go a fucking head, because I would like to see that. But I won't tell you how much skills he has. He has about 30 fucking 5 skills. And those skills will become more stronger when Bell levels up. Because if I think of, well, wait, if you guys, you know what, fuck it. You guys can decide in the comments how much skills that Bell has. Because you guys have to do research. If you guys want to because since he has the Nemesis Tyrant DNA in his body, and he's able to I don't know, because well, part one I explained it all, but you guys can decide how skills he has, and what kind of nerfs or debuffs or negative sides he has. So yeah, for fuck's sake, why does when halfway in the video, it just gets boring, right? And for some reason, the more I talk, the more funner it gets, and the more better it gets, you know? But anyway, I'll get to it. As Loki's jaws fucking drop, Belle looks at her and just says, "Is everything alright?" As Loki says, "Yeah, I just got done." And Ice was actually hearing to leaning to the door, hearing them, and Ice is did Loki just stutter in her head? As Loki just says, "Okay, I'm done putting you in my Familia," with a little clown tattoo on his back. As Belle's that didn't take very long. As Belle gets up, begins putting back on his shirt, and he asks Loki where his room is. Loki says, "Oh, your room's down the hall, and you gotta go down the hall and take a left and take a right, and that should be your room." As Belle opens the door and just says, "All right." As Belle begins going to his room, he looks at his room with saying it's kind of big. Well, might as well start doing shit. As Belle was carrying a bag, Belle begins making some shit, and when the Loki of the Familia came back, of course, the sisters that were, I can't remember their names, they're Amazons, so I can't remember their names, but I'll look that up later. So yeah. As they hearing this weird noise coming from the room that was actually was the room that was actually cleared out earlier, after they were hearing that someone was joining their Familia. Of course, the two girls were curious and decided to open the door. And they see Belle without a shirt. And they just see him working on a 50 cal fucking sniper rifle. And they close the door, which Belle heard them, but he decided not to interact with them. And when they went to the hallway, Bet's like, "Hey, are you two alright?" Because Bet sees their noses are fucking bleeding all on the ground. The blood's on the fucking floor. It's like a trail of blood leading out of the hallway. Leaving it that much. And they both of them say, "Yeah, we're fine." As Bet's like, "Are you two alright?" As he's like, "We're fine." As they go to rooms, and they're screaming in their pillows, like saying, "Oh my fucking god, he's so fucking hot." Because Belle is quite a looker. Well, just his body is. Oh, well, his face is pretty good, like charming, but the body has a package. As Beth begins, like, he's like now fucking curious about what the fuck were they like the nose bleeding about. As Beth opens the door to Belle's room, and Belle turns around and just says, "Oh, hey, Beth," without a shirt on, because Belle doesn't have a shirt on. Beth's like, "What the fuck?" As Beth's just seeing like the fucking abs on this guy. It's like a fucking his abs are like a fucking god. And Hephaestus, not Hephaestus, I can't remember the beautiful god. Fuck. I had her in my head. What the fuck, guys? As as Belle says, "Oh, Bet, could you actually close the door?" As Bet's like, "Okay." He closes the door, and he looks at Belle, just saying like, "What the fuck are you making?" Curiously. As Belle says, "Oh, I'm just making this 50 cal." As Bet's like, "What's a 50 cal?" As Belle looks at him and just says, "Well, it's basically like a bow, but it's like I'll just say it's like 100 times better than your average bow." As Bet's like, "Okay, can I? I'm just gonna leave because I am going to leave because I have to process this." And yeah, goodbye. And I think I'm going to be ending off that there. I'm sorry, but this is too fucking hilarious. If you guys enjoyed it, please break that like button again if you want to see part 4. Part 4 will be 50 times more longer because I realize that when I'm doing the video, it gets funner for me. So please break that like button like you always do and hit the subscribe button. And hit the notification bell so you can get notified when I post new videos. But as always, guys, I hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll talk to you all in my next one. Peace out.